Hello, this is Åsa with a new process video. Today I'm going to play with a Pebbles collection called Harvest, and it is themed for kind of homemade and eating and cooking and baking and all those things. And I thought that would be perfect for these photos of a dinner that we had in late August last year. We're having a crayfish meal, just the four of us, and every August here in Sweden everybody gets the crayfish craze, and this is originally due to a certain date when it was first allowed to fish for crayfish in the season, and that of course led to people having crayfish parties. And I don't think that this date is still a rule that you need to follow, but anyway, the tradition of having crayfish parties in late August is still around, and we wanted to have that kind of dinner together. We made all the necessary dishes, and we had funny hats with the crayfish theme, and special napkins with the symbols, and a paper lantern hanging over the table, and all these fun symbols and stuff that goes with the Swedish crayfish party tradition. And my son didn't like the crayfish. He didn't even want to look at them, but our daughter, she totally loved it, and I think that she could have eaten all of them just by herself. She thought it was just lovely. I think she likes the crayfish a lot more than I do. We don't have crayfish very often, but she often asks if we can't have it again. So it was a total hit with her. Our son didn't enjoy it the one bit. Anyway, he was there, and he could eat of all the other fun and yummy stuff on the table. I have both color photos and black and white photos from this dinner, and I choose to make these like the people photos black and white, because it was too much color going on, and the kids had really colorful clothes and they didn't kind of match. I don't know why I didn't make them wear matching clothes. I need to think about that in the future. Anyway, I choose to make them black and white just to get rid of a lot of color information and make it more focusing on the food and on the red crayfish. So I have cut them apart now, and I want to make a photo strip going from top to bottom of the page, and I'm inking the edges so that it will look a little bit like vintage, kind of a filter or something like that. And I also wanted to get rid of the white cut edge that appeared when I just trimmed the photos. And I will place them on this red cardstock. And it's really messy to ink on photos, because they are so, the surface is so slick, so I have like paint all over my hands and on my craft mat there. So I remember that I had a lot of problems staying clean afterwards and not get the paint all over the place. So I needed to trim off some more of that photo because it was a little bit wider than the other ones. So this will be basically the shape of this photo strip there. The two color photos are of the table and of the bowl with crayfish, and in the background you see the cheese pie, and it's a special kind of cheese that we use for this pie. It's called Västerbotten cheese, and it's a bit like salty, and it's really I don't know if that's the right word, but it's a very matured cheese, and it has a very strong and lovely taste, and it's a bit pricey. But for these special occasions, when it's time for crayfish party, it has to be there. It's so much tradition that it's not something that you really don't want to miss out on. And together with the crayfish, we also have fried chanterelle mushrooms and some different kind of sauces, and I think even some vegetables, and of course white bread. And that's like a really nice dinner. I have cut that tablecloth pattern paper to become a tablecloth on my paper. So this is basically the table of the layout, and now I'm just placing the different items on the table around these photos. So it's basically a decked table. And these cutouts, they are 2x2 squares. I love them. I think that the 2x2-inch squares are so easy to use on a page, and I wish that more companies made these cut-apart sheets that with matching like embellishments, because it's a perfect thing. You just pay the normal paper price, and then you get all these embellishments. I think it's just perfect. I wish they made one of these sheets with every collection, all the companies. The colors here are just almost only red, and there's a couple of hints of yellow, and that's something that is picked up really well in the photos, because the pie is yellowish, and also the bread and the lantern that's hanging from our lamp there is also bright yellow. It's a traditional crayfish party symbol here. It's the moon, the August moon, and it's got a funny face, and I actually think it's a bit scary. but it should be there. So I was very pleased when I found it, because I bought decorations for this party. Now we have them, so we can use them this year as well. But this was the time when I bought them. We hadn't had them before, and I was really pleased that I could find the correct symbol, the moon there, because it's like it should be. So this was a fun event, and I hope that even my son will start to appreciate the crayfish party tradition when he gets older. He is a bit he has his own opinion about food, and if he could choose, I think he would invite the chef from the daycare to cook his meals even at home. It feels a bit strange, but he actually likes her cooking better than mine. But I hope that will change with time. I had 3 of those 2x2 squares that were on wood grain, and those were a perfect kind of base, or base for the page. They gave a little bit more weight for the eye to kind of it forms like a shelf for the layout. I like to have darker colors towards the bottom of a page, because it gives some weight for the layout to stand on, like shoes for the page. Now I'm looking for some journaling striped papers, and I have a folder in my stash where I keep all my ledger papers and papers with lines that are good to write on. So I always, when I get small pieces of these papers, they also go into that folder, because when you're writing just a date or something like that, you don't need a lot of space. So every little piece is valuable for my scrapbooking. So that's a really nice folder that I've had for many years. And now I'm just looking for some red themed papers so that I can write my tiny journaling. And I found a couple of pieces there that fit perfectly with this layout. The journaling that I'm writing is basically what I told you before, that our son didn't like the crayfish. He didn't even want to look at them, and our daughter loved them. So I'm just reminding about the event and how they saw this dinner in very different ways. I'm writing with the wonderful pen that I bought from Muji, and it's a point, oh, let me see, it's so thin. It's like 0.36 or something like that. It's so thin, and it makes the best writing. I love it, and I use it all the time, and I also use it in my planner. Or it's not a planner, it's a notebook. And I think that I will talk more about that notebook in a couple of videos from now, because I have really come to understand the planner craze lately, and it has given me kind of peace of mind. I took just photos or pictures from the internet, and I cut out 2 crayfish in red cardstock, and one big that will be in that empty spot there next to the white homemade card, and a smaller one that will go on the white space that on that right card there as well. So I'm placing them up on foam dots, and I love how the silhouette cut those out with such a lovely detail. You can even see the like the legs of the crayfish and the antennas there, and I thought that was really fun. And even the smaller one had all its legs and looks really great. I have added a little bit of ribbon on the journaling spot, and I'm done. Here are some close-ups of the finished layout, and I think this was a fun project, and it's typically me with several photos and a filled page. Not much empty space here. Thank you so much for watching. I hope to see you soon here again. Take care. This is Åsa. Bye.